A very good evening to you. Another beautiful evening where men get to sit down and have important conversations. Welcome to Man Up. My name is James Okumu. We are doing a series of shows talking about the principled man. Men must be men of principle, to stand by what you believe and to live in a way that is inspirational and encouraging to others. And so on this first episode of this series, we want to talk about infidelity. Infidelity has become quite common to a place that it's almost expected and accepted that this is just how men are. And nowadays, even women are finding themselves in a place where they are straying away from their marriages. So what drives a man to be unfaithful in their marriage? And what can we do to be principled in this area? In studio tonight, I've got two amazing gentlemen to help me with this conversation. First and foremost, we've got Reverend Tony Kiama, lead pastor, River of God Church in Parklands. Mchungaji, how are you doing?
I'm well, James.
Karibu sana, good to have you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Ningejua hata mimi ningevaka kola. Nikae pia mimi.
Bwana asifiwe.
Niko na mafuta. We are also hanging out with Mwangi Kabeberi. Mwangi is a coach and also a mentoring consultant. How are you?
Fine, thank you, James.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's good to have you.
Yes.
I'll begin with you. There's this narrative that I keep hearing over and over again, that all men cheat. Hakuna mwanaume anaweza kana mwanamke mmoja. I've had that. Kwanza inasema ogana kasnia.
Yeah.
Ati mwanamume akaena mwanamke mmoja kwa hii dunia ya leo. It's impossible. What do you think about that narrative?
I think it's a false narrative. I do think there are men who can stay with one woman.
Okay.
I think the real question is to ask why is that narrative a popular thing? So why do men cheat? So then we need to ask, what's the background of, what's the story of this man who is cheating? Is there a reason? You get? And I think we don't really answer those questions. It's very easy for us to just generalize that all men are cheats. Yeah. So, I mean, stereotypes, I think, are what kill individuality. That's what I believe. And we need to really know who we are as people, as men, as women. And before we even think about, getting into marriage, I think it's important first for the man or the woman to really know who they are. Okay. Understand their background, understand how it's going to influence or affect, the marriage going forward or their life going forward before they step into marriage. Okay. So that's what I believe, and it's possible for a marriage to blossom. It's possible for a man not to cheat. It's possible for a woman not to cheat, and for there to be happiness in the marriage, for so long as people know who they are.
Okay.
Yes.
Pasi, one time my wife was having a conversation with one of her friends, and she was saying, we imagine anatembea tu na dem mwingine tu hadharani. At least kuna wale wanaume wazuri wakifanya hii mambo yao wanafanyaga huko. If you're living in this area, enda ukacheat na huko. It's almost like that is acceptable. Tusipojua ni sawa, lakini usifanye tu mbele ya kila mtu kimadharau. How did we get there to a place where now it's almost acceptable?
I think, first of all, cheating is wrong.
Yes.
It's wrong in scripture. It's wrong in society, because even the man who's cheating doesn't want his wife to cheat on him.
Exactly.
Because he knows it's wrong.
Yeah.
And by the way, even a thief doesn't want his money to be stolen. In fact, it hurts more when you steal from a thief. It hurts him more.
Yeah.
And so the question we're asking then is, how do we justify that which is wrong? First of all, cheating is just bad manners. Ni tabia mbaya.
Tabia mbaya.
Every one of us as men are tempted. When you see, you see. You get what I'm saying? And akunaga mtu yuko na curtain kwa macho. You get what I'm saying? So we all see. So we are all tempted.
Yeah.
But yielding to that temptation is bad manners, is lack of self-control. Yeah. And the Bible says in Proverbs that a man who lacks self-control is like a city without walls. And so for us then, the question we should be asking is, why is this generation lacking so much in the area of self-control? Because you can't say in this generation, men are more tempted than in any other generation.
Yeah.
There were women in every generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, infidelity has been there from time immemorial. But there are men in this generation who do not yield to that temptation. And so it is in that aspect that I would like to say that in this generation we have very many men wako na tabia mbaya. And they feel like they can get away with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of lack of mentorship, lack of role models.
Yeah.
And let me say this. Political office is a spiritual office. Because all authority on heaven and earth is ordained of God.
Yeah.
Now, every time a politician dies, they've had 5, 6, 7,
Yes.
8 other children out
Children
there.
come out of the woodworks.
Exactly. Now, look at the power of political office in this season right now. The election fever has literally electrified the entire country.
Yeah.
No one is talking about anything else except election.
Yeah.
So that tells you the power of that particular office. And so it's in that sense, you need to realize that the reason why society is going south is because our role models have dropped the balls.
Okay.
Have dropped the ball.
Okay.
Because these are the leaders that everyone is looking up to.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are defining the roadmap in our country.
Yeah.
Now, here they are dropping the ball big time. As in they have all these women following after them. And it looks like they are getting away with it.
Yeah.
So when the young men are looking up to the guy who they see on TV all the time, that's all they read about in the newspaper. They're the guys who have the flashiest cars and the biggest houses. So when this young man is growing up, their role model is their member of parliament, their MCA, their governor, their senator, their head of state. And now, these guys are living the way they want.
Yeah.
Number 2, the other role model is our musicians. Even the Christian musicians.
Yeah.
Man, they have no morals.
You know, I'm just thinking, Mwangi,
Yeah.
that this has become such an acceptable thing that I hear even today when young people are relating, you know, you have an agreement. Yeah?
Yeah.
That I know that when you're not with me, I know you're with so-and-so. So-and-so is my friend, and so we are in agreement that I'd rather know who you are with than you being out there with somebody I don't know, somebody I don't trust.
Yeah.
So if you want to double deal, it's either me and her or story inaishia hapo.
Yeah.
And for me, that scares me because this is now the next generation. And they're taking it to another whole new level.
Yeah.
You know, and as men, as leaders in society, you know, we are not saying much about faithfulness and just being men of principle.
Yeah. It's very interesting that you say that. We should also be keen on the kind of content young people are consuming out there. Now, a lot of the content out there is not, you know, positive, to say the least. It glorifies a lot of things that were not glorified back in the day.
Yeah.
And so we need to get into the mindset of these young people. What is it that they're thinking? What's going through their mind? What's their view of marriage? Because they probably don't, I mean, they definitely don't have the view you have of marriage. And they've probably seen maybe marriages are not working, or they've come from abusive homes. You know, they've seen that there's something not too good about what this marriage is about. And therefore, they don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and also people don't want to be alone because loneliness is a hard thing.
Exactly.
You get, so they look for the easier way out. And so if it's, you know, having a casual thing, they'll go for it. So long as there's that companionship, you know, you can go out on dates without the real commitment because of something that they fear. And for them, that works out well because they're getting what they need. They're being fulfilled in a particular way.
Yeah.
Question is then, to them, is that wrong? You see, to us, because then we have this view of what marriage should be. So we can easily say it is wrong. But to them, is it wrong?
Them,
So we need to really find out, okay, why are they doing this? And if for them it's not wrong, then I think we need to really sit down and address, okay, fine. These are the standards of maybe what you call marriage or whatever it is. Can we adhere to these standards of marriage? So it's really finding out or getting to the bottom of what is right and what is wrong for them.
It's interesting you say that. I'm thinking of two thoughts, Pasi. First thought is my brother was telling me how he was having a conversation with somebody just A lady in her early 20s, you know, and she was saying, don't talk to me about marriage because marriage is fake. Yeah, because I've seen my mom and my dad. You know, on Sunday, they're the very best couple. But during the week, these guys are tearing each other apart. If this is what you guys call marriage and these standards you're placing for us, it doesn't work. Because I have seen it from experience, it doesn't work. So marriage for me doesn't work. I'll just find somebody who we can come to an agreement with. If I want a toy, they give me a toy and life moves on. You know, so talking about their perception of right and wrong. But Pastor, still on the whole aspect of role models, even ask the clergy. You know, I've had situations where God told me, you know, God told me to divorce this woman and marry this one. You know, or issues of, you know what, even David was a man after God's own heart. Na alidandia wife ya mtu, na bado God alimforgive. So it's not really a big deal. We keep moving on. You know, so where then do we draw the line, especially for the younger generation, because they're looking at us as role models, if we, the clergy, can also come up with such excuses?
I think, number one, we are in agreement that the church has dropped the ball. It upholding the standards.
Yeah.
In that you find that even the people we pick as leaders in the Church of Jesus Christ is not on merit. It's on basis of your bank balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guys who sit in church in front. That's why this girl you're talking to looks at the parents and they're like, seriously? Yeah. Because you guys are leaders in church.
Yeah.
The pastor maybe even knows that this marriage is not working.
Yes.
But because of your bank balance, they have still given responsibility in church because they are funding the project in church. Rather than this man being asked to step down from leadership, because the Bible is categorical that you must be a father, a husband of one
wife.
You must handle your family well.
Yes.
You must not be a recent convert, a lover of money,
yes,
or wine. Indulge. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when the church will uphold those standards, for example, you are a youth leader, you have been dating this girl, you slept with her, you've dated this one, this one, this one, this one. This girl is getting married, church ndio inamshikanisha, and the girl is married, and the pastor is not saying, you guys, first of all, you need to repent because you're already fornicating. Sex before marriage is fornication.
Yeah.
That line has been removed in many Bibles in the church today. So young people are sleeping around however they want. There's no difference between the young people in church and the young people in the world. And until we go back to dealing and purifying the church of Jesus Christ. Nehemiah in chapter 13, as you come to the end, he said, after I have purified the the priests and given everybody their assignments before he went back. So there has to be that aspect of purification and upholding serious standards in the church of Jesus Christ. Where we are saying, friends, if you're living in sin, you step down.
Yeah.
You fall into sexual sin, step down. Because we are upholding holiness and righteousness. Somebody asked me the other day, if we do that, then who will be left? Oh, so we bend the rules so that the church can have the numbers. And why do we want the numbers? Mapa, ching ching.
I'm telling
ching,
you.
ching.
I'm telling you.
So the church has dropped the ball because we are the moral fabric of society today.
Yes.
You clean up church and society will clean up.
Wow.
Yeah. You mess up, you frustrate your wife.
Yeah.
You divorce, you step down from leadership. Yeah. There are women who, by the time you're getting married, this guy was like this, you know, he lived right. But the truth is, my guy, this guy was a worship leader. This guy was leading Bible study. This guy was in ministry. He was in Bible school. And before you got married, you're already sleeping with him. So his fear of God wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Now that you're married, you expect that he will stop. If he didn't have self-control then, what is this switch that you press on when you get married so that now he changes overnight?
Is this the certificate you placed here?
You see, switch. It's a piece of paper.
We are talking about infidelity, focusing on the principled man. Remember, your thoughts are very important. You can share your thoughts or comments via SMS on 20316, WhatsApp 0786316316. Kama kawaida, 1 minute, get a cup of water from the kitchen and come back, because we are yet to talk about what can we do to ensure that we have principled men in today's society. So keep it Family TV.
Tomorrow on Youth on the Move, we meet the brains behind Ari by Tafari.
I've always been an artist, I think ever since I was a kid. Why wedding dresses? In a nutshell, because it allows me as a designer to actually express myself.
And a unique venture inspired by circumstance. That's tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. on Youth on the Move.
Welcome back to Man Up. Tonight we are looking at the principled man, focusing on infidelity. I'm hanging out with Reverend Tony Kiama and Mwangi Kabeberi. So gentlemen, how does one stay faithful? How does one stay committed in their marriage relationship with all these things happening?
I think it's not take 2 tablets and you're fine kind of solution.
Yeah.
And if pain persists, see a doctor.
See a doctor, yeah.
You get a job. I think we have to look at it as a wholesome, but I think I look at it in three levels. Number one, you have a personal responsibility to self-control.
Very true.
Because temptation is not going away.
Yeah. To
just nurture the ability to say no. And and it starts with you on the phone, something pornographic shows up, and you don't watch it all, you just delete it.
Yeah.
You're on Facebook, you're on those videos, and you just remove,
Yeah.
delete. How do you nurture the ability to say no? Because lust is addictive. Yeah, if you do it once, chances are you'll do it again. So how do you make sure that you will not do it?
Yeah.
That even if this chick came and removed your clothes, you will say no and walk away.
Yeah.
And that starts way before the situation happens, where you say, you know what, if this thing happens, I will say no. So you already have that mindset that I will not cheat. You will not decide that you will not cheat when the opportunity
comes. Yeah.
It's already a mindset.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to be a disciple of Jesus Christ, where you focus on reading your Bible, and prayer, personal prayer, because it's the only way you can. This flesh, you beat this flesh. It's the only way to beat this flesh. That's number one. Number two, two are better than one. You need the discipleship. And Kabeberi can say, as a coach, that you need someone to hold your hand, who can ask you difficult questions, who can be accountable.
Yes.
Yeah, because society is breaking down in the sense that you're in a group of people, but you are alone.
You are alone.
And not just alone, you're lonely, yet you're in a group of people.
Yeah.
And so you need someone to hold you accountable. And that's why we have cell groups. Weekly Bible study.
Yeah.
You're part of a team where you're playing a game, or part of a club, and that's.
And this is with people who hold the same values as you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that they can hold you accountable. They can keep you in check. So then you can ask them, how do you overcome? So you have those discussions. And I keep saying, when people are getting married, they sit in Java or in some restaurant and they talk about nonsense things, the texture of sausage. As in, how will that help you 5 years down the road? As in, let's talk about real things. Exactly. How will we deal with communication? When we have problems, who shall we talk to? When we disagree, where shall we go? What value shall we have? What Bibles? Let's talk about how will we deal with our money.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that all our money, when we are gone, doesn't end up in unclaimed financial assets.
I'm telling you. But see, I'm just wondering, bringing Mwangi back into this conversation, when I was looking at statistics and some research that has been done into this whole issue of infidelity, a lot of men come up with the issue of feeling disconnected, feeling neglected in their marriage, not being able to connect with their wives emotionally. Maybe the attention of the wife is on something else, maybe on the career, or maybe the children. And so you feel like you've been left out of this equation, and so you look for somebody else to fill in where you feel like you have been neglected. Is that a valid reason? And how do we navigate through that kind of a situation?
Okay. So in my opening statement earlier, I talked about getting to know yourself. Which I think is very important.
Okay.
Because when you're sitting at Java, instead of talking about the text of the sausage, it's good to say what you like, say what you want, say what you think marriage is for you.
Expectations.
The expectations, exactly. If we don't talk about that, then we'll go and fumble in the marriage. So now just rewinding a bit, getting to know yourself is knowing what you like, what you want, you know, having your goals set and being able to articulate and communicate them to the potential spouse.
Yeah.
And not even to the spouse, but even to yourself.
Even to yourself, yeah.
Getting to know what you like is very important, because then if you're able to communicate that to the potential spouse, then it will not be hard for them to meet the expectations, because then you'll have communicated and they'll say, okay, fine, yeah, I think I can meet those expectations. If you don't go in having communicated that, then you'll go and fumble and you'll feel, okay, I think she should be doing this for me, or I feel he should be doing this for me, but those things are not communicated earlier.
Okay.
Also, not knowing what you want plays a key role, because then now you will start finding it out in marriage, and it might be a bit too late. And so now then you go look for what you want out there, because you simply didn't figure out what you like before. Yeah. So in terms of even coaching and mentoring, like you had mentioned earlier, it's important that premarital counseling, for example, really focuses on the person. Because a lot of the times, having gone through it myself, you focus, yes, on the marriage, which is important. Yeah. However, we don't go deep into the person, you get? And so then I need to be asked questions. In terms of, am I ready for this? What are the things that I like? What are the things in the past that have affected my way of thinking? Yeah. And is that going to contribute positively or negatively into the marriage? And I think premarital counseling should cover all bases, not just the marriage itself, but even the background, historical aspects of the person, because that tends to affect the marriage going forward. And I think you will have less cases of people cheating on the other, as a result of them knowing who they are and what they like, and being able to properly articulate that. Also, onto the point you raised in terms of, you know, cell groups and church, and the church dropping the ball. A lot of young people, you know, because of a lot of the content they're consuming, a lot of these things don't make sense for them. So you tell a young person, you know, join a cell group. For them, what is a cell group? Does it make sense for them? Is it possible to do something that actually communicates with them in a way that they understand, in a way that they feel, okay, this has made sense to me? Because your values and their values are totally different. And that's what I'm saying. Their version of right and wrong is very different from our version of right and wrong. And is the church able to come in and bridge that gap? Yeah, because the church is, you know, people look at it as, you know, a set of rules from the Bible. Or if you don't do this, this is going to happen.
Do's and don'ts.
Do's and don'ts. And a lot of young people want freedom. Not even young, even older people want the freedom to choose. But if you choose a particular thing, then we're going against what the Bible is saying.
There's something you mentioned there, the whole background issue. I remember when we got married, sat down with my wife, and we looked at our family backgrounds, and we looked at the marriages in our families, and we realized there's a common denominator, and we had to sit down and pray and say our marriages will not go this way. You know, our marriage life will not be like this. It will not be like this, because we are seeing it here, we are seeing it here, we are seeing it here. It's in your family line, it's in my family line. We were so deliberate about it. But then the other thing, Pasi, I want to ask you before we run out of time. I've had this, and sometimes even my wife tells me this. My wife tells me sometimes as men we are very naive.
It's true.
Yeah, we don't see it coming. There are those situations where your wife tells you, that one I don't want to hear about her, that one. And you're thinking there's really nothing. She's just a friend. There's really nothing going on. She's just a colleague at work, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering, are there boundaries we need to put in place as men where our marriages are concerned to ensure that we don't stray and become statistics?
First of all, when you have a toothache, you don't go to a hairdresser. You don't take your head for shaving to a mechanic. For haircut. And so it's important for us to remember that, number one, you nurture self-control, even before the wife. That it's a resolve in your heart that Joseph said, I will not sin against God.
How can I do such a thing?
I will not sin against, even when no one is watching. Remember, he was in a foreign land. No one was watching. He was a young man, he was 17.
He was in charge of all the
He had
servants.
been sold out by his family. He should have thrown all form of restraint. And this sleeping with this woman would have earned him serious favor. But he said, I will not sin against God. And it's in that sense I'm saying that we have to come to the place where we resolve within ourselves that it's not about my wife here. I will not sin against God. So how do I get there? Reading the Bible, personally. Feeding the spirit man.
Yeah.
Because when the spirit man is famished, then the flesh man takes over. And takes control. Yeah. And then you become a city without walls.
I'm telling you.
Lacking self-control. And so anything happens.
Yeah.
So anyone can come in. How did I end up with a chick like this? In normal circumstances, sasa huyu hata wife anashindwa hata ni, you can't even compare with your wife. Yeah. Mzee unawezaje cheza chini hivi? Sasa hata wife akuachi kwa sababu umecheat. Ni vile umecheza chini. Hii ni nini?
That's interesting you say that our time is up. But I was reading an article. Interestingly, a friend of mine sent me an article today in the morning, and it was just on this, a research done on the clergy. They interviewed, I think, almost 300 clergy who had found themselves in this scenario of infidelity. And the very things you're mentioning are the things they neglected in their lives. Their personal relationship with God, prayer every day.
Spirit man.
Yeah, the reading of the Bible. They did not have any form of accountability. They were just riding alone. And so because of that, they just deviated kidogo kidogo. It just didn't happen. It just got to the place. Exactly what you're saying. You find your place, self somewhere, and you wonder, nilifikaje huku?
Yeah. Let me tell you something. If you lose 1 degree here, in a year, you'll have lost a mile.
I'm telling you.
And it was just 1 degree.
Yes.
And 1 degree is not threatening.
It's not threatening. It's even negligible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that 1 degree is off course.
Yeah.
Period. And so it is important for us to resolve. For you to be a principled man, a principle is a mental and a heart resolve.
Yes.
That this is a path I will take.
No matter the circumstances.
Exactly. And that's why people stand out. Yeah. Your principle. Even these women who are saying our husbands are dogs, this man is cheating with another woman. So even we should be looking at principled women.
Yeah.
The woman who will say, you know what, Mimi, first of all, I have no business with a married man.
Yes. I think we'll need another session to dig deeper into this conversation.
Thank you for having
thank
us.
You so much. Tony, thank you so much. Unfortunately, I'm out of time, but I love what these two gentlemen have said. My friend, it begins with you and your relationship with God. Ogopa Mungu, as my friend would say, Eka Mungu mbele. If you put God first in your life, all these other things will have to align. That's all the time we have for Man Up tonight. Until next week, have a great evening.